what's up out there, podcast world? This is That's Vital Podcast, episode 4, yo. This episode right here, this is just straight raw. This is going to be a purging of my thoughts, ideas, so it's a buffet. You're going to get something from this for sure. Somebody's going to get something from this. Anyhow, if nothing else, you're going to get that energy, which is what I neglected on the last episode, so I apologize. My boy was like, I'm going to be real with you, man. Episode 3 was kind of dry, bro. Need to lubricate that joint a little more. It's like, I got you, bro. I guess I could trust the process. My bad, I'm reading my notes. So I got like different, and my son gave me an idea for a topic. Hold on, real quick. Religion is restriction. Woo! Somebody's not gonna like that one. My bad, I had to add that note. My son was like, yo, religion is restriction. I'm not teaching my sons to be opposed to religion. He overheard a conversation I was having with some friends of mine, and I mentioned how I heard this pastor say, religion is restriction. And she didn't say that. She said, we're not on religion, we're on relationship. That's what it was. I said religion is restriction. I'm sorry, my son heard me say that. Yo, I'm discrediting myself. Yeah, she said, we not on religion here, we on relationship. They was on religion. I'm not going to bash them, but they was definitely on religion. Religion to me is in the box. Relationship is when you stepped outside the box. You got to sprout them wings sometimes. You got to grow. You got to stretch your understanding. Many people are afraid to do that. Ooh, I just got an idea, yo. Let me see. Today I want to take a deep dive up in them walls. And I'm not talking about marriage or relationship walls. I'm talking about the walls we put up that hinder us from being able to stretch and grow. Those walls and those ceilings that we add to box ourselves in. I used to think inside the box. And ever since I got out, it's like, man, I ain't never going back in the box. Like I was telling some friends of mine the other day, I said, man, religion, what I feel like, okay, one time we was having a conversation. One of my boys was talking about, I got to give y'all some context first. I've been born and raised SDA, all right, Seventh-day Adventist. One day we was having a conversation, me and my boys, and one of my boys was like, yo, I'm finna watch this game. So if you growing up SDA, from sunset Friday evening to sunset Saturday evening, that's God's time. Like we were taught, like you don't watch TV, you don't be out in the streets, you give that time to God, you just rest. So yeah, one of my boys was like, yo, I'm finna watch this Lakers game tonight. And another one of my boys was like, you gonna do that on the Sabbath? So he was like, yo, man, I'm gonna be real with you. Like, I've been doing this. Basically, what he was saying is that religion for him has just become a redundant cycle. It's lost its feeling. He's become numb. And I said, bruh, I get that, man. And I said, and God gets that too, man. I said, God said, I'd rather you be hot or cold. If you're hot, like if you know what I'm saying, if you already know you in a relationship with God and you like that's a different, that's a whole nother level, being hot. Like really, like I really understand what it means to be hot because I'm in a state of heat right now. Like I am so beyond religion. I mean, I still attend church though because I love the atmosphere of church. I love to play music, but I'm no longer on religion because religion is restriction in my opinion. And I will further elaborate on that. I don't know that I'm going to do it right now. If I feel inclined to, I will, but I don't have a lot of time right now. Yeah, so I told him, I said, I get that, man. I said, God gets that. He said he'd rather you be hot or cold. So, because you're lukewarm, he'll spit you out. And I said, think about it. Like if you're in a relationship with somebody and they love you, everything is good. Y'all are, Y'all are hot for each other. But if they don't love you, it's cool if they come to you honestly and tell you, yo, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not feeling you. Because then you're going to put the onus on yourself if you're a real dude and say, what am I not providing? What am I not doing? You're not going to blame them for not loving you. But if you're in a relationship with somebody and they telling you they love you, but all the while they stepping out, that's that in between. You know what I'm saying? So like, if you really don't feel something and you have new thoughts or new inclinations, it's nothing wrong with exploring thoughts. It's nothing wrong with exploring ideas and trying new things and in its right context, obviously. You know what I mean? If you married and it's like, yo, I want some. My bad. That was not G rated. I'm sorry. Like I said, yo, this is just a salad. This is just a buffet of thoughts, yo. I'm just gonna fire off as stuff comes to mind. And the reason why is because, like I said, yo, I didn't give y'all that energy on episode 3. Like I personally feel like I didn't do a good job. Like I need to redeem myself. You know what I'm saying? And I understand this is still a trial and error phase. This is still the beginning of this thing, but I don't know. I just wanna I was listening to this Ed Milet podcast today. He's got this recent one he uploaded with. Let me see if I can find it with the. It was a lady, and she's a comedian. Here we go. Let's talk about. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna play it. It's called "Use Your Pain to Forge Happiness." The truth behind comedy. Sorry, but yeah, that thing was good, yo. She was saying some stuff, and I was resonating with what she was saying. Like, she was. Oh man, I haven't finished it yet. She talked about her upbringing and everything. And then she said she's at a point where it's like she no longer looks at her parents as like these mean dictators. These aren't her exact words, but she said something to this effect. Like, I no longer look at them like these mean dictators, but like my level of compassion has now been evolved to a level where I see them as simply children who didn't know any better. And I'm like, yo, I resonate with that, yo. Like, for me, it wasn't until I became a parent that I really understood parenting. I'm like, damn, yo, I'm legit out here trying to do the best I can with the knowledge that I have. For me, I was brought up, punishment was that spanking. When I heard the words, you gonna get it when you get home, like that was, man, yo, that those words would like damn near, woo, this whole chill and goosebumps with, oh man. Anyhow, that was my example of parenting, you know, and like I said before, yo, kids only know what they're exposed to. You see something that your parents have done, that becomes gospel to you. That becomes like, that's the rubric. That's the standard. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter what you might hear in school. It doesn't matter if you go to a friend's house and you see their parents treating them differently. You might think to imply some of that stuff when you get older. But when you have kids, your natural instincts or your natural, like, unless you're studying and intentional about making changes and being different, you naturally are going to do what your parents did. So that was what I noticed. You hear me rub my eye? Man, I'm goofy. I'm sorry. But that was what that was one of the things I noticed about myself. You know, like I do the exact same, well, not anymore, but becoming a new parent, like I made a lot of mistakes. And I tell my boy, David, yo, I tell him now, like he's got a 3-year-old. I'm like, D, man, listen, bro, we talk, and I'm like, bro, I made mistakes when my son was younger, like stuff I regret. I mean, it's a learning curve, you know what I mean? You make mistakes and you get better, you know what I mean? You don't sit there and dwell on them. I said, you know, you don't have to beat yourself up so bad about it, man. You're doing the best you can. And that's one of the things that I realized about parents. Like, parents do the absolute best they can with the knowledge that they're equipped with. I didn't see this growing up. But when I say I didn't see it, I wasn't aware of this. I wasn't tuned into this. Like, I didn't see that my parents were the type that any new bits of information that works in their favor, they adopt that information and implement that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't actually see that they did that, but clearly they did, because that was my example, because that's what I do. Somebody gave me that example. Now, I did always see them striving to be better and get better, but I mean, like, I didn't see like the intentionality behind their getting better. I didn't see, like, clearly I can't see what's going on in their head, you know, and how they're beating themselves up at night. Like, damn, I shouldn't have done this. Like, frick, yo, I feel so bad. Like, he's going to grow up hating me. You know what I mean? I couldn't see those things until now, me being a parent. I'm like, frick, yo. So I want to live my life with no regrets. I know I'm going to make mistakes, but I don't want to live my life not having tried things, having been someone who was afraid to try things that could have been beneficial to me. You know what I'm saying? I know this podcast is going to blow up because, see, anything I do in life, anything I've ever done, I've always stayed consistent. So anybody that knows me knows, like, the only reason why I quit certain things is because in order for me to go further with this, I have to, it's like when I get to the pinnacle of whatever it is I'm doing, I realize, you know what? Yeah, this has been fun, but I don't have that same level of fire for this anymore. Like, I don't know. I'm being drawn to new ideas. You know what I'm saying? That's the only reason why I quit. I don't quit because it got too hard or and I killed it at everything I've ever done. That's how I know this thing is I'm going to get to the pinnacle of this. From this might spill over into speaking engagements. This might spill over into one-on-one coaching. This might spill over into, there's so many possibilities. I'm putting it out there, yo. I'm just putting it out there. And right now you getting raw. Like, this is straight unscripted. I plan to get these episodes out on a weekly basis on the same day of the week so that it can always be expected. So in accordance with my analytics, in the beginning, it was showing that Tuesday would be a good day. That's the day that I get a lot of viewers on my channel for some reason, Tuesday mornings. Looking at that, I said to myself, well, yeah, that's cool, but that's based off my previous videos. That's not based off this podcast. So I need to I want to make sure that it's effective. I want to make sure that I make it convenient for the viewers, like what the time that's best suitable for the most viewers. Maybe I'll title this podcast Be Yourself. I don't know. Yo, that is like, it's one of the scariest things sometimes to just be yourself, because you feel like by being yourself, you might piss some people off. Not even necessarily piss them off, but you might turn them off to you. You know what I mean? So it's like, man, if they find out that, I'm goofy, they might not respect me. They might not like me. You know what I'm saying? They might think I tell you what, from experience, it feels so much better to just be yourself and live life with no regrets, yo. Oh my gosh, yo, my son, my oldest son, he perfectly exemplifies this. Yo, compared to me when I was his age, oh man, confidence peaking. But he's more handsome than I was. What I'm learning is like, it feels so much better to just be yourself. Like, it's crazy when I open up to people. Sometimes, like, if you open up to people and just they call it letting your hair down. If you just let your hair down sometimes, you'll attract so many more people that like you, yo. It's crazy, yo. Because you're real. So it doesn't matter if what you're doing, they may not agree with or they may not side with. It's just the fact that you being real. I was having a conversation with some friends one time. We was at dinner and the topic of Delta 8 edibles came up. I was like, oh, yeah, that's my joint. And they was like, what? I said, yeah, you ain't know. They was like, we respect you so much more. Oh my God, yo. Like, yo, it just went to a whole nother level at that point. Like, yo, that probably sounds so bad to some people, but, and it's crazy because, we had a conversation one time, me and some friends, about like being sober and stuff. And I said, and it sounded crazy to them when I said this, but I said, bro, I've never felt more sober than when I was on edibles. Like, I felt so aware. You don't understand. Like, I feel like if you've ever seen the movie Limitless, Bradley Cooper takes ND40 pill, whatever it's called. And he's just, oh, spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen the movie. Okay, now that I brought that up, I got to go in so many directions to clean this mess up. All right. So, and not even necessarily clean it up, but I mean, clean it up thoroughly enough so that people not only understand me more, but understand me as it relates to this topic, so that people aren't just like, yeah, he's not a Christian anymore. He left the church. He does drugs. We live in a day and age now where this is going to be a long podcast when I explain this, but I'm going to add some theatrics and stuff. It's going to be fun, yo. So let's just enjoy the ride. All right. Anyhow, this is going to be fun. Limitless. So Bradley Cooper, it takes the pill. It unlocks his mind's entire potential. All right. Amen. That is the exact, like, when somebody asks me, how does it feel being on edibles? I'm like, bro, it feels for me like the limitless pill. So let me tell you how this got started for me. So when I was, I think, man, listen, rock with me for a second. All right. Don't just judge and, I'm turning this off. No. Seriously. Just listen, just for, all right. Trust the character of me that you've seen in the first 3 episodes. Just rock with me, yo. I'm going somewhere. I smoked weed when I was 18, and I didn't realize that I wasn't actually smoking it. I was just sucking it in and blowing it out. I wasn't inhaling. It wasn't until one day I was with this kid who used to be a bully. He was like, man, your problem is you don't swallow when you smoke. So then I started doing that. That's when I got high for the first time. I'm like, yo, what the frick? Like, it was crazy, the feeling. I never experienced that. Fast forward, I'm in this after months of doing this now. I'm in the car one day with some friends of mine, and they were good kids like me. Grew up in households where they were church. They didn't smoke weed. Their family didn't all that. So one day I'm the bad kid now. So I'm showing off. I'm in the backseat. Hey man, I got this weed, and I got another friend with me in the backseat. He come from a broken home, so he smokes weed already. So we smoking, and clear as day, like I had this thought come to my mind. I was like, yo, what if Jesus come right now? And my boy looks over at me with bloodshot eyes. He's like, yo, homie, don't talk like that right now, bro. You scaring me. You freaking up my high. I couldn't help but think it. I was like, yo, but for real, like, I really feel like in this moment, like, Jesus could come, and then I'm going to be like, I'm just going to be out there. Like, yo, what do I say? It was scary, but, now looking back, I realized that that's how I was conditioned. That's how I was churched to believe that Jesus is unreasonable. Like, you got to live a perfect life. Anything other than that is not acceptable. And you can't respond to these natural inclinations you feel, these curiosities where it's like, okay, I'm curious. I'm curious to try this thing. I don't see anything wrong with curiosity. People who are very religious, very, very legalistic, they do. Their whole thing is, oh, if you try it, you might like it, and you might get addicted to it and hooked on it, and then go spiraling down a bad road. But the thing is, if you don't try things, I have not seen the evidence to say that marijuana is a major concern for health issues or DUIs or abusive situations. I have seen that with alcohol. So we had this debate, some of the guys from my church, because we had got on the topic. Like, some of them were getting on me when I talked about edibles. And I'm like, well, bro, first of all, I've never felt more sober, like more, when I say sober, like aware of the fact that media, TV controls my mind and pulls my mind in this direction. Yeah, substances can control my mind as well. But like, look how many people are drunk off media. Like, people don't move nowadays without turning the TV on to see what CNN is saying or CNBC or whatever the mainstream media is putting out. Like, people don't move until thus saith the mainstream media. So to me, that's under the influence, because whatever they say can cause you to be afraid. It can cause you to refuse to leave your house without a mask on. It can cause you to attack other people because their beliefs don't align with your beliefs. Like, the mainstream media, social media, just media has people under the influence. I realized that. I'm like, yo, nah, my thoughts are centered when I take the edibles. But there's been times where I've had too much. So I've had to learn how to microdose and make sure that, I got to see what dosage works for me. So for me, it started off 10 milligrams was all I needed. When I was new to it, it was like, okay, with 10 milligrams, because you can't get into a place of thought where you're so deep in thought that it's hard to function. Your mind, you're so focused on one thought and you're just zoned out. So I'm not trying to get that effect. I'm not, I use it as a tool. I don't use it to just for my enjoyment. It sounds so crazy to some people, but be yourself. Anyhow, I am nervous about putting this episode out, man. If I decide to because this thing is gonna, boy, this thing is, man, people are gonna be looking at me different. It is what it is, though. And because there's an audience for everybody. There's a group, there's a community, there's people that are right there in the same boat with you. And you never know who's in the same boat with you until you put yourself out there. It's so crazy how many people low key be on this stuff, and they're just afraid to talk about it because there's scrutiny. But I wanted to finish what I was saying. Yeah, so it's funny because in the movie Limitless, like I was saying, there's one part where Bradley Cooper describes his experience. I was like, yo, that's freaking me. Like, that's exactly what happens to me. He said his experience with the ND40 or whatever it was is that all his thoughts were centered. They were all like perfectly in little neat folders, in little neat file folders where he could just pull whatever thought he needed at whatever moment. And I said, bro, that is exactly how I feel. Like, that's one of my favorite movies because, like, just from his mind being focused, you see how much he was able to accomplish. So I don't know, different substances affect people differently. So you can't be so quick to just say, no, that's bad. Nobody should ever take that. Nobody, because, everybody's different. You got, like, I know people who are allergic to penicillin. I know people who are allergic to amoxicillin. I know people who are allergic to nuts. So if a person's body can react in a negative way to something, it can equally react in a positive way. You just never know how somebody's body is going to react to something, or somebody's mind is going to react to something. So I described it to somebody like this. I said, yo, for me, if you've ever played the game Fight Night Round 3, when you get knocked out, there's these 3 circles. You got a circle on the right, one on the left, and then one dead in the center. So the way you get back up is you've got to move those buttons to get those circles on the right and the left to the center. You feel the controller vibrating while you're trying to push them things together. That's what the edibles do for me. Like, it centers my thoughts. That may or may not be the case for somebody else. I know I'm putting this out there at the risk of scrutiny, at the risk of losing followers. I feel like it's better you reveal stuff in the beginning of a relationship than to surprise somebody with some stuff later on down the road. And then they're like, man, all this time I thought you was this type of person, and like, you had me tricked. There are going to be people that look down on me, but then there's going to be people that are inspired by me as well. And my thing is, like, I was having a debate with some friends of mine earlier today. Like, why sit there and focus on, if your focus is things to worry about, and your focus is all these bad things that are gonna happen, and where's your hope? You know what I mean? You lose your sense of hope, and then once you lose your sense of hope, it's like the nocebo effect takes full effect. Your body starts to get sick. You know what I mean? Your breathing gets fricked up. This stuff comes from thoughts, from the mind. Like, I just want to give y'all something raw, like me in my absolute just chill. I'm at the house. It's the evening, just rawest form. Like, if I'm at the resort, like, this is an absolute vibe. Me just in my zone. When you go to a resort, the sleep it's different. That 5 pillow, I always call it that 5 pillow sleep. That 5 pillow sleep hits different. Well, when you go to a resort and you get the king bed, you get the master bedroom. Let me put that disclaimer on it. That 5 pillow sleep hits different though. The resort we go to, they got direct TV now. So my wife and I, we fell asleep with the Flintstones on, yo. Like, it was an absolute vibe. I remember the kids, like, so we get this resort, it's called Reunion. They got 3 bedrooms. All right. So the kids had a room, my mama had a room, and then we had the master. We cooked burgers. Oh man, it was just an all-out vibe, yo. We went to sleep watching the Flintstones. Not even watching, we let the Flintstones watch us. And then I got up and went to church the next day. But it felt so good just being there. And one thing I noticed about me, I'm actually shocked that my energy level is this high right now, because this is how my energy is first thing in the morning. Like 7 in the morning. Oh man, when I drink my cocktail in the morning. So I'll have me a Delta 8, 25 milligrams with lion's mane mushroom. This is something that, this is dude Sean Stevenson. If you ever get a chance, check him out, yo. This dude, like, when it comes to health, this cat knows his stuff, yo. Like, oh my gosh. But he put me onto this stuff called lion's mane mushroom. So I take, let me see, Delta 8, lion's mane mushroom, and Celsius. And I like the blue Celsius, that blue raspberry flavor, blueberry, whatever that is. Yo, I get that thing nice and cold in the morning, stick it in the freezer, get that thing nice and ice chunk, and then I'm driving. I'm on my way to the gym. Like, that's the routine. Get in the car. I'm listening to my this channel on YouTube called Vibo. It's an all-out vibe, yo. It's all about, like, personal development. But what I love about the Vibo channel is what they did was you'll hear like Bob Proctor or Earl Nightingale or Steve Harvey or Les Brown. Like, there's all these people. And you'll hear these people speaking, but they'll be speaking to some lo-fi beats in the background. Like, it'll be like a chill, like just lo-fi beats. And then the images will be videos of like what a successful life looks like. What life on the other side of fulfillment looks like. So you'll see like yachts, you'll see these nice, beautiful homes, you'll see, and it's not just pictures, it's video, like it's 4K video. It's an absolute vibe. So it paints a picture in your subconscious that says, if you follow these gems we're giving you, like, it's not hard. You'll have this life too. There's a law of attraction video. Like, you'll attract these things to you because you'll become a better person. Like, you know what I'm saying? People will be moved. And it's one thing to hear it, But it's an entirely different thing to hear it and know that you're living it and actually see this stuff happening and see yourself climbing through this process. Yeah, this thing is good. Listen, if nobody else listens to these podcasts, I'm going to go back and listen to these podcasts because I need to encourage myself. It's crazy. I was listening to, like I said, I was listening to my first episode because I didn't like the third one so much. I was like, man, let me listen to the first one. My energy was high on the first one. And I was like, man, this sounds so good. I wasn't listening to look for mistakes and stuff. I was just listening objectively. And I was hearing some of the stuff that people mentioned to me, like that could have been improved upon. And I was like, oh, I see what he was talking about. Yeah, I did do this. Or, oh, okay, I see it now. One thing I noticed, like I said earlier, I was in a state of irritability. It was like I had this irritable spirit over me. And like that thing was lifted. I mean, I was in the gym and I'm listening to myself and I'm just like, man, I'm uplifting myself, like hearing myself and hearing how well this first episode sounded. Like, and when I say how well it sounded, that's not me trying to puff myself up, but I'm saying like in comparison to other people's first episodes that I've heard. Like I did my research before starting a podcast. I listened to other podcasts. I listened to these videos, how to start a podcast. That's what led me to get the Yeti mic. The Yeti was the most popular mic when I say the most popular, like it didn't get the highest reviews, but even though people had scrutiny towards the Yeti, mad people were still buying it. So I was like, yo, I'm gonna grab the Yeti. You know what I mean? So I was excited. Yo, I went and grabbed the Yeti. I got the doggone boom stand and I'm just like, yes, yo. Yeah. Yo, honestly, I might just upload this. Like, I'm really, like, my spirit is moving me to upload this. Something in my spirit is like, yo, you just need to upload this. Because sometimes I feel like I have to sell myself to people. And what I mean by that is, like, I don't want people to get the idea. Because, okay, this happened to me a few weeks, about a month or two ago. I was at this church. And it's not that I am losing my faith in God. Not by no means. Like, I understand God on such a deeper level now. Like, a layer's been peeled back. You know, there's a level of, I feel like, okay, I was telling somebody this recently, and man, it's like God just keeps getting confirmed in my life. So I said, I don't believe I think my own thoughts. I believe that when I say I don't believe I think my own thoughts, I don't believe, like, some of these thoughts that pop in my head are genius. And I'm like, there's no way I thought that thought. That thought just by osmosis just popped up in my head. Like, I didn't think that thought. I wasn't even thinking about that. Like, I'm riding in the car listening to music and sipping on my tea from Panera Bread, and like genius thoughts pop in my head, and I'm like, that's God putting them thoughts in my head. And then it occurred to me, I'm like, yo, I really believe, like, if I want genius thoughts, I have to live a phenomenal life. Like, I've got to put more disciplines into practice. So I'll give you an example. So I bought a dog. Somebody gave me a dog, all right, about a year ago. I was working with this contractor and he had a dog and he was like, yo, Daryl, yo, I got this dog. You want this dog? He's like, man, if you don't want it, I'm going to have to get rid of it. So I was like, let me check it out. So he showed me a picture. He's like, yeah, you got his shots and everything. You know what I'm saying? I was like, yeah, yo, cool. All right. I said, let me call my wife, see if she cool with it. So I called my wife. And I sent my wife a picture. She fell in love with the dog immediately. She was like, yeah, I guess so. Yo, my wife loves this dog, yo. But like, this is our dog, you know what I mean? So anyhow, it's a little Bichon, little white Bichon, little tiny little thing, you know what I mean? Well, he's little. It's funny because when I told my boys about it, I was so excited. One of my boys, he's got a German Shepherd. He's like, man, you got a rat, man. You got no dog. His dog is huge, yo. So anyhow. All right, unfortunately, I'm going to have to wrap this up soon. I gotta get to this rehearsal. What time is it? Damn, and I'm enjoying this, yo. Like, I'm legit enjoying this because it's just, like I said, it's just a purging of my thoughts. It's just a purging of my feelings and whatever just pops up. This idea of me just doing a straight raw podcast, this was a thought, you know, and I believe this thought was opened up by way of my discipline, by way of me holding myself accountable and doing what I know I need to do when I need to do it, whether I feel like it or not. It's crazy because my pastor, his wife, had preached a sermon about a month or two ago, and she referenced a verse where Christ said the same thing. He said, my thoughts are not my own thoughts, but the Father that gives me my thoughts. He said, it was something to that effect. And that was confirmation for me. I'm like, oh my gosh, yo, that's how I feel.